Well, I mentioned earlier, and I meant to say this, that right, and listen to music or watch a movie, right? And so much of what we now take for granted was always you had to make an extra effort. Just when my own mom was 17, she used to go to see Frank Sinatra at the Paramount in New York, in well, I guess it was called Times Square back then too. But she would go see Sinatra over there, and it wasn't. And now even today, when you go to like Radio City Music Hall, you see the Rockettes. They're famous for their dancing, and the person behind the dancers is the unsung star of that whole thing. It's the person who helps somebody like Sinatra. Now, how did he ever learn how to dance, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think we found the person who might have been responsible for that.
Yes, we did.
And he's on the phone. David Winters is a choreographer and an actor. He's a director. He is in one of the original cast members of both the Broadway and the film version of West Side Story. How exciting is that? He has worked with some of the big names. Can I name drop just a little bit?
Sure.
He worked with Elvis and Anne Margaret on Viva Las Vegas. He's worked with Michael Jackson, Nancy Sinatra, Barbara Streisand. His book is called Tough Guys Do Dance. And if you look it up, you're going to find one that says Tough Guys Don't Dance, but he disagrees.
Yeah, that's right.
This is his memoir. David, you've had quite a life. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Larry. Pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
Oh, man. I love West Side Story, by the way.
It is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It still holds up today, too. You know, I went to see it the other day. I couldn't believe it. Still works today.
Do you know, I cannot look at, like when you go to Publix, or I'm not Publix, I mean, you wouldn't know Publix. When you go to a grocery store or...
Publix.
Oh, you're doing a Publix? Or what? Well, when the name tag says Maria, I'm always tempted to sing Maria.
Yeah. I wonder how many other people do that, too, you know?
So tell me about the book is a memoir, huh?
Well, the book is a Amazon #1 bestseller, which I'm thrilled about.
Good for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it happened on the first day, actually, that it came out. It was the Amazon #1 bestseller.
Wow.
And it's been over 15 years in writing it. It's taken me over 15 years, not continuously, but as I remembered moments and things that happened to me, because I forgot so much, you know, through the years. And so it's been just a work of love for me, and it's a way for me to give back to all the young people in my business who are coming up and who need some guidance or some suggestions. And also it's a way to see some of the stories of the stars that you don't know, the kind of people these people are. Michael Jackson is the most beautiful person I ever met. Elvis Presley is so down to earth. Frank Sinatra is so humble, you won't believe it. I mean, I have stories that happened with me, these people, and they're all true. And the only place you're going to see it is in my book, because the press ain't going to write about it.
Right.
They're too busy, you know, running into the ground. But these people are lovely, giving human beings. I can tell you that, and I'll tell you a couple of stories.
So are all the stories revolved around? Do they all revolve around them learning from you about dance?
No, they revolve around shows that I did with them. Even Paul Newman. I did a movie with Paul Newman. I did lots of stuff with Sonny and Cher. I did all kinds of Bobby Darin. I did lots and lots of people in the business, you know, through the years. But
did any of them were any of them closer to you as far as a friendship than others? Did you have any of those names that we know as a household name that actually would come over for lunch, that kind of thing? Did you develop a friendship?
Yes, with Elvis, with Michael Jackson, and with Liza Minnelli, and with Sonny and Cher. Yes.
Wow, that is awesome.
Yeah, and Barbara, I would say. Barbara Streisand, I would say, too. Yeah, and Diana Ross, of course. I worked with Diana for 3 years. I did all of her stage shows and television shows for 3 years. I directed and choreographed and produced them.
And was it all always so professional, or were you able to have fun during the takes on your films and your television shows?
I always try to make it fun. Because I don't like a set where people are uptight and stuff, you know. So I like to have warmth and happiness around me. I'm not into the let's suffer kind of thing, you know. I don't want to suffer. Let everybody else suffer. I'm happy to have fun.
So tell me about the dancing part of it, though. Since the book is called Tough Guys Do Dance, was it?
Yes.
What was there? Are there any stories of any of them? I'll just let you kind of run free with this. That would surprise us. Maybe from our perspective, they look like they're naturals, and maybe they're not.
Well, my forte actually was taking what they could do and working around that instead of making them and forcing them to do something where they look awkward doing it.
Okay.
I would watch what they could do, their movements, and see, how that worked and work around that. There were some times when I gave I called Elvis L. He was my buddy. Sometimes when I would give him something and I could see that he wasn't comfortable doing it, so I would change it and make it more comfortable for him.
Were you a jet or a shark?
I was a jet. I was Arab in the movie, Arab in the motion picture, and I was Baby John in the Broadway show. I was the original first person ever signed for the Broadway show when I was 17 years old.
Oh my gosh! And did you have to go through any rigorous physical training every day that you did religiously to always be on top of your game for your dancing?
When I was a young man in New York City, I danced. I studied 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. With every teacher that I could go to, because I wanted to be great. And that's the only way you can be great, is to just pour yourself into it. A lot of other things in your life may suffer, but you can become great that way. It's very hard from a distance to become what you want to be, to really excel in any kind of thing. You know what I mean? You got to dive into it and put your whole life into it. And that's what I did.
And you put a lot into the book. This is a huge book. We don't have a copy of it, but I was looking at it on Amazon.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, it's gigantic, right?
Yeah, it's pretty big. It's 506 pages with 300 pictures in there.
We do have a PDF, though. So
great. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
we do have the PDF.
So do you have any feedback from some of the folks who you worked with regarding the book?
Yes, I do. I have 22, just over 22 people in there that have given me testimonials, such as Linda Carter. There's things in there from all kinds of people, from Diana Ross, from Nigel Lithgow, who was the creator of So You Think You Can Dance and American Idol. And he actually said to me and to some other people that if not for me, those shows would not exist. He said, because he wanted to be a banker. And he went to be a banker, and that's what his mother wanted him to be. And he said when he saw me in West Side Story, he was so inspired, it changed his life. And he became a dancer from that.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It says here that you've gone through a lot of medical situations like heart surgeries, and once you were given 25 seconds to live. Is that right?
Absolutely. At the Mount Sinai Hospital in Miami. Yes. Wow. I've had 12 or 13 procedures on my heart, 4 open heart surgery, and 3 operations for cancer, amongst other things. So I've had my trials and tribulations in the physical ailment division too.
So what does the doctor say when you have 25 seconds to live? Does he? I mean, I would say to him,
that's what he said.
Oh my God. He had to be.
What he said.
He's obviously wrong. I mean, you've been on the phone longer than 25 seconds.
Well, that was 4 years ago, man. That was 4 years ago, he told me. So I think I beat him on that one. I should have bet him, you know what I mean? If I was a betting man, I would have bet him.
Do you live in Fort Lauderdale?
I don't. No, I actually live in Bangkok, Thailand.
Oh, my gosh.
I come to America for business, and I actually live in Thailand. I love it there.
Oh, wow.
And I've been there for 20 years, but anytime I'm doing business, I come to America and I do business.
Is Steven Spielberg remaking West Side Story?
Yes, he is. And also there's another very famous director, I forgot his name, the award-winning director, who's actually doing it in 2020 on Broadway again, a whole new version of West Side Story, actually, with new choreography. It'll be the first time, but Stephen Sondheim has allowed him to do it. and they're going to go ahead with the show, West Side Story on Broadway.
Should we see Hamilton? I keep thinking I don't know if I should spend that much money for a musical. Is it worth it?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Go ahead.
Is the remake of the film and the Broadway show going to be a period piece like it was back in the 60s, or is it going to be modern day now?
Well, I don't know about the show, but I know that Stephen is supposed to be doing the same way it was when we did it, and I read some of his screenplay, actually. Mm-hmm. I wish him luck, but I don't know why he's doing it, honestly.
Exactly.
Musicals are very special things. Stanley Donen. Go ahead, sure.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. You were born in England?
I was born in London, England, and I escaped death quite a few times during the war in England.
Wow.
And my mother brought me to America. I was in America. I came here when I was 8 years old. I started studying dancing when I was 12. I found it. I watched the kids at the subway system. The kids used to snap the rag and shine the shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom was a dancer from when she was 15 till she was 88.
Wow.
And she didn't want me to be a dancer. She wanted me to be like old Jewish mothers, a lawyer or a doctor, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So she didn't want me to do that. But I went out and got these orange crate and made a shoe shine box and went on the boardwalk in Coney Island and shined shoes and made like about $5 a day. And I paid for Mac Levy's dance studio. I enrolled myself there. And then I would tell her every time I went out shoe shining, what the movie was. And I lied about some movie that I'd seen. I had never seen that. I found out from my friends, and I tell her it was a great movie or it's a bad movie. And then one day I came home and she said, "David, tell me where you've been." So I knew she knew.
Oh, wow.
So I told her the truth. And I said, "How did you know?" She said, "Your aunt saw you on the boardwalk and you should be doing that."
Since you acted in a lot of television shows, did you kind of sneak in some kind of dance moves for your characters? Were you allowed to do that?
Not really, no. I was just an actor when I did that. I tried to be true to what this director wanted from me. And I studied the directors and the producers, and so it came in handy, in later years for me. When I became a director and a producer, I watched them intently. Other kids and other people would go to lunch, and I would sit and watch them do their work in the studio. I was very, very driven, really driven.
You must be a great mentor to upcoming actors and also the dancers too, because you seem to have a very special way about you that you can relate to them through your vulnerability.
Well, yeah, as I say, I've experienced closeness to death many times in my life, over 10 times, and very serious ones. When I was 1.5 years old, I fell in an open fire, and my body burned for 90% of my body. Oh. And I didn't speak. I didn't make a sound. My mother never knew if I was going to talk ever again. And I finally did when I was 3. I made some sounds. So, and then I got shot up by a German airplane on the Isle of Wight. They came and shot at me. A little kid. I was 3 years old at the time. So all these harrowing tales are in my book,
Wow.
This is part of my life, it's just part of my life.
Yeah. I mean, it's just fascinating. I was looking at the opening parts of the book and the things you go through. You wrote at least the part I looked at, you wrote it almost as if you were doing a screenplay.
Yeah, you know why? Because I'm comfortable making films, because I've written so many, screenplays and made so many films. I've made over 80 films and over 200 television shows. So I'm very comfortable in that genre. So I kind of thought, okay, instead of just writing a book like I'm a book writer, which is kind of, reaching out, I thought, okay, I'm going to do it kind of like where it's kind of like a screenplay almost in a way, so people can see it. I wanted to visualize it, basically. Because I'm very visual. I'm a very visual person. And so I thought if I could just, show people visually what I'm saying, what I'm thinking, that it might be even more interesting than just reading.
You even say a handheld camera at one point, even though we're reading it.
Yeah.
So we sort of can picture what you're talking about.
Yeah, but I tell you, I got so far on Amazon, I've gotten 12 raves out of 12 reviews, 5-star.
Yeah, I was
So
looking at them.
I'm excited about that. The reaction has been wonderful to the book.
That is really you are really amazing, sir, because you've gone through a lot of decades. You've experienced a lot of changes, not only in the industry but on a social level as well. And you just always bring forth grade A productions.
Thank you very much. I want to tell you about Frank Sinatra. You mentioned Frank Sinatra. Your mom used to go to see him, Larry, right?
Right.
So I did Nancy special, and I was a guest star on the show along with Frank and Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. And it was I actually was nominated for the Emmy for the first time for that show. And so I got a letter from Frank after the show saying all these nice things about what I'd done on the show and how wonderful I'd been for Nancy and everything, and how he thought my work was excellent and blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the letter, what really stood out to me was he signed it Nancy's dad.
Oh.
Not Frank Sinatra, but Nancy's dad. And I thought, wow, isn't that lovely? That's where Nancy gets it from, because she's the sweetest girl in the world.
Oh, so beautiful.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Wow, it's some amazing stories. So but you don't feel at home in New York or Hollywood or anything, huh? You moved to elsewhere. Would you say Taiwan?
Bangkok.
Yeah. No, to Thailand. Bangkok, Thailand.
Thailand,
yeah. Yeah. Well, what happened is I made a movie with Gary Busey in Ibiza, and I put it in the film festival in Bangkok, and I won first prize. So I thought, I'll try staying over here for a while. They like me. But why go where they don't like you? Go where they like you. So, and it turned out good. I made a bunch of movies over there, and have some wonderful close friends over there. And so I'm in Vegas right now, appearing at the Red Rock, starting today for 5 days for my book, doing personal appearances here, and interviews, and of course I'm doing I'm on the stage today where they're doing an interview with about 500 dance teachers, Teachers Association of America. And so then I go from here to Los Angeles for 2 days, and then I go to Bangkok.
Oh my gosh.
David, it's an honor to have you on this show. Thank you for taking time to be with us today. The book is called Tough Guys Do Dance. I found it on Amazon, and he's right. He's got 12 5-stars across the board. People just writing such wonderful things about this book. I'm guessing the book is everywhere books are sold besides Amazon?
Yeah, it is in Barnes & Noble and everywhere else that you can buy a book. Absolutely.
And are you gonna do an audio version so I can listen to you read it to me?
Yes.
Well, they're going to do it. I think Amazon does that with all the celebrities. I was going to do it. I was happy to do it, but they said to me that Amazon does that themselves. They do it fast and whatever. So I said, fine, let them do it.
Okay. Is that you on the cover? Is that you?
That's me. That's me in West Side Story as Arab. Yeah.
Arab.
Wow. I think I know you. David, thank you again for being on the show. That was fun.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. We'll take a break.
Have a great day.
Right back.
Howdy, folks. RL here for Dairy Queen again to tell you about what's hot and what's not. Dairy Queen has some of the best char-grilled chicken breasts on earth, as well as their chicken breast salad. The burgers are exceptional, cooked on a real grill for the best flavor and less fat. And for dessert, blizzards are unequal. So personally, banana split is my all-time favorite. Dairy Queen Silver Springs, where we always treat you like kings and queens.
The College of Central Florida is committed to being your first choice for quality higher education. CF has locations in Marion, Citrus, and Levy counties and offers more than 60 academic programs. Earn a certificate